Yeah.
Yeah.
Get excited, everybody. Doubleheader of fights. And I gotta say, I am excited for it all. Normally, we do a show like this before a fight night event, and it's just like, yeah, it might be fun, but the card isn't all that great. Today's a different day. I'm feeling good. BKFC 56 coming up later on, but in a matter of minutes, well, 27 of them, UFC Austin is going to kick off in the Lone Star State. And look at that main event. Arman Tsarukyan looking to solidify himself as a title contender, taking on Beneil Dariush, who wants to keep his title hopes alive. It's a lot to like about this card, a lot to like about the day. But welcome to the People's Free Fight Show. I am Mike Heck, and joining me is the chair-swinging man of MMAfighting.com. At a stash in MMA, he is the one, the only, Casey Leydon. Let's see, how many chair spins are we getting here? 1, 2, 3. That's a 3 spinner.
3 spins. It would have got 3.5 spins. Whoa, I'm dizzy. if Ben Rothwell and Todd Duffy were able to bare knuckle it tonight, but 3 spins. Great night of government-sanctioned violence tonight. Great night. I'm excited.
I'm super pumped. Like I said at the beginning, like I told you before we got started, I'm like fired up. I woke up and I was like, I can't wait for these fights. Like, I'm very excited. I'm very excited for, there's certain UFC prelims that aren't all that spectacular, but I'm actually into almost every single fight. Like, I'm ready to go. The main card is really, really good. The last 4 fights in particular are spectacular. This is going to be fun. This is going to be a fun event. The BKFC card is going to be fun as well. I'll break some news. We are going to do a BKFC watch along later on. Time TBD. It's just going to kind of pop up. Once we're done with like the UFC coverage and the post-fight show and all that fun stuff. The plan is to probably go live right before, like if I could have my way, it'd be right before the Jimmy Rivera, Jeremy Stevens fight. And then we'll just go through the rest of the main card. So I believe that'll be that. And then there's 4 other fights, including the main event. So I think we're going to have a good time. People will be able to hop in and out, and we'll get some different takes on things. I think we're just going to have a really good time. We could all watch it together. So time TBD, but it's going to happen a little after 10 p.m. Eastern, I would guess, but this is going to be a fun day. But right now, we're going to take your questions. So pop them in the chat. Let's get after it. And we will do this until both fighters for the first UFC fight are in the octagon, ready to throw down. I believe it will be Veronica Hardy and Jamie Lynn Horth. Once that fight gets underway, we'll wrap up. But until then, we're going to take your questions throughout. So let's do this. We can talk about these cards. We can talk about whatever you want. We can let our hair down, so to speak. The last stand. What is a storyline on this card that is going under the radar? I think there's a pretty easy answer here, and I think we're probably in agreement. But what would you say?
Actually, I don't know. Going under the radar. I actually think the Miesha Tate Julia Avila fight is way under the radar.
That's the answer.
Right, there we go. Miesha Tate coming back to 35, right? She's coming back from coming back to 35. And this is just a gigantically important fight, I think, for Miesha Tate. And for Julia Avila, I always thought very high of her fighting skills. Then, of course, she's been out for 2 years, creating human life and recovering from injuries. If you follow her on Instagram, that woman was, during her pregnancy, I think she said she hit 200 pounds. 200 pounds. And now she made weight 135 pounds. Incredible. I mean, like, wow. So these two very talented bantamweights in a struggling UFC women's bantamweight division. If this fight's exciting, it could give that weight class a big kick in the butt, which it needs. So I like that fight a lot.
I think both these women are in play to get pushed up pretty quickly. Yeah, you know how Miesha Tate's a star. She hasn't fought in a while, so she's kind of off people's radars. So if she goes and wins, again, like you said, with this division being what it is, not a lot of star power, she moves up pretty quickly, maybe becomes like a win or two away from a title shot, which doesn't seem all that fair if we're being honest, but it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter because she's over and she's a recognizable name. And Julia Avila is just incredibly fun. So, and she's a great interview. She talks great.
She's just a great personality, exciting fighter. Her backstory, even getting into fighting, is pretty fun to listen to. I've always been a fan of her.
Yeah, I'm so mad that I didn't interview her before this fight because usually I interview her. I probably talked to her more than anybody, but we just couldn't get it together. But
bummer.
We hope if she wins, we'll definitely speak after the fact, unless she goes on the MMA Hour, and even then, I might just do it anyways. I might just do it for our feed. You know what I mean? But yeah, I love that fight, and yeah, it's a much needed fight. I hope it's fun, and I would be shocked if it wasn't.
Yeah. And like I said too, I think even beyond just the two women fighting, is I hope the women's bantamweight division just is not good in the UFC. It just isn't. And I want it to be
so bad.
I want it to be. I really do. And hopefully these women can kind of I don't know, get the fans behind it, get the UFC behind it, and hopefully get the world and get more women on the regional scene. I know it's just one fight, but let's make the women's bantamweight division great again.
Yes, this is a great fight. I also love the Joe Solecki Drakkar Klose fight. I'm very intrigued by that one. We haven't seen Drakkar Klose in a while, so it'd be good to see him back. Joe Solecki quietly amassing one of the better records in this division. I think he's 4-1 in the UFC, and no one talks about him. No one talks about him at all. We haven't seen. When was the last time he fought? The Rafa Garcia fight. So it's been well over a year for Drakkar Klose, and before that, it was over 2 years. The Beneil Dariush fight, which is, if you have never seen, like if you're a newer fan and you've never seen Beneil Dariush versus Drakkar Klose, go watch that fight because it is absolute insanity. It is nuts. Joe Rogan, DC, and John Anik, that might be the best fight they've ever called together. It's just absolute mayhem. It's so good. It's so damn good. That was just, and then the Jeremy Stevens incident happened, and then Brendan Jenkins and Rafa Garcia, and wild times.
Yeah, I remember that fight. That was just one of those fights that it was a good fight in paper, but then when it happened, you're like, what is happening? This is insane. Like it just
so good.
It was just wild. It was almost kind of like the lightweight version of Pat Barry versus Chet Congo. It was just had that kind of feel. So yes,
that fight rules. That fight freaking rules. All right, what else we got? What two underdogs on this UFC card would you pick to win today? Lots of close matchups from head to toe. I get the odds here if you have any questions about that, Casey.
What?
I mean, look, if I was moneyline betting a dog, I would bet Bobby Green at plus 145. That line has dropped immensely, huge from where it was earlier this week. I would still, I'm picking Arman Tsarukyan to beat Beneil Dariush, but I would still bet on Beneil Dariush at plus 240. I think that line is just craziness. I'm trying to see. The biggest favorite on the card is Hidalgo Bellato against Ihor Potieria, and I kind of feel like that reigns true. What do you think? Is there any fight that stands out to you that you feel is an underdog that you would take a shot on?
Sean Brady.
He's the favorite. He's a slight
favorite.
He's the favorite?
No way. Wow.
Yeah, -1. He's -122. Kelvin Gastelum's plus 102.
Oh, that's so interesting because where is that? Oh, I lost it. On Tapology, he is a significant pick. Sorry.
Yeah.
Wait, I can't.
I saw that. It was like 63. It was like 63% when I looked at it last night.
Yeah. I was like, whoa, okay. So let me look at it right. Oh, here it is right now. Oh yeah. 63% picking Kelvin Gastelum. So I was like, and I'm still high on Sean Brady. I know he had that tough loss, but he's actually the betting favorite. Interesting.
Yeah, okay, it's basically a coin flip. He's just a slight favorite. But if this fight happened before the Bilal Muhammad fight, he'd be like a -300 right now. Like so many people have jumped off the Brady train. That's why this fight is so interesting to me. It is super duper interesting.
What is the line on Font Figueiredo?
Font -122. It's exactly the same as Brady Gastelum. Font -122.
So it's pretty much a pick 'em. I kind of felt like I know they're completely different fighters, but I'm kind of, people jumped off the Brady hype train. I kind of jumped off the Rob Font hype train, but I am picking him to win today. But this is a big fight for Rob Font. If he I don't know. Are there still title aspirations for Rob Font, you think, Mike? Or is...
I thought he was kind of out of the picture after the Cheeto fight, but then he beat Adrian Yanez, and it was like, he's like Mr. Y'all must have forgot. Like, every time Rob Font gets put in these spots, like, he wins, and it's always coming off of a tough loss. I don't know. Like, Rob's just a fun guy. Like, and then he got the Sandhagen fight instead of the Song Yadong fight, and I'm like, damn, like, with what this division looks like right now, and with, Sean O'Malley and Aljamain Sterling about to happen, but hasn't happened yet. Like, if Aljo wins, like, they could do Sandhagen, they could do Font, and it didn't really matter. Sandhagen just kind of wrestled Font the entire fight, which is not what we really expected to see because Sandhagen was hurt. So,
but
I don't. I mean, he's got a long way to go, especially with
yeah.
O'Malley as the champion. With O'Malley as the champion, unless like he somehow catches Sean's attention in some way, it's going to be tough for him to get that fight.
Yeah.
He's in a tough spot.
Yeah, I always thought he was a really exciting fighter. Yeah, the Sandhagen fight was I know we have everyone's got different opinions on that fight, but I was like, oh man, Font just got 25 minutes of that. It's like, geez, something. I know Sandhagen's a complete fighter, but that was a little too much of a manhandling. I would be worried about for Rob Font, in terms of like what happened in that fight. He just did not think that was gonna did not prepare for that.
No, definitely didn't. He was preparing to fight a totally different guy. Prepared to fight Song Yadong in Boston, in his home city, but he had to take that fight. Like, Song was out anyways, so when that offer came, even it being like a little over a week's notice, changing the opponent, you got to take that shot. Like, if you did have title aspirations, like, even if you felt like the matchup was terrible, you still had to do it. And I talked to his coach and manager about it. They're like, yeah, dude, we had no choice. Like, we had to do it. And when we said, like, no choice, not like the UFC was like, take this or you're cut. It was just like, no, we had no choice as a fighter we had to do this. Because if we ever wanted a title shot, like, this is the fight we have to win. We have to take these opportunities when they come. Because Rob's 36. He's 36 years old. He doesn't look it. He doesn't seem it, but he's 36.
So, you know what? Yeah, geez, yikes. Yeah. In the bantamweight division, that's tough. That's like 50 in the heavyweight division.
Right.
Which means you're still you can still compete, but you might not win at all.
Yeah, I'm super curious to see how Figgy handles this fight. Will he wrestle Rob? I think that's not a bad idea. Will he stand there and have a hammer and tongs fight with Rob? I don't know. It's got to be real interesting to watch. I am picking Rob as well. I just think Figgy's taken a lot of damage in that Moreno series. He just took a lot of damage, and Rob hits really, really hard. Yeah. So, and he's just going to be way bigger than Figgy. He's just going to be so much bigger in there.
But let's see how Figueiredo does with a little more fluid in his brain, in a sense.
Yep.
So,
for sure.
Who knows? Maybe after all these fights, that Figgy might be the story of the night. Who knows? Like,
it could be true. It could happen.
You know what I mean? Like, there's gonna be one fighter on this card where we're gonna be like, whoa, kind of like, I mean, that it happened, but I didn't see that happening. But wow, there it is. And yeah, who knows? Who knows? You know what? That's why we like this card, because of fights like this. This is we kind of don't know what's gonna happen, and we kind of have our predictions, but it can kind of go a lot of ways. So that's why it's a fun fight, I think.
Yeah. All right. Did the UFC sabotage the Jalen Turner momentum? How? How so?
I guess
it's an interesting question.
What was the deal with Jalen Turner saying he was kind of? I didn't watch the interview, but I heard you guys talk about it. He was kind of forced to take this fight, or?
I mean, he didn't say like the UFC made me take it, but he was basically like, yeah, I kind of had to. Kind of, he felt like he had to take it. And I got to say, like, he's lost 2 in a row. Bobby Green has a ton of momentum right now. So if you're Jalen Turner, like, short notice or not, it's not the same as Font Sandhagen, but to a to a lower degree, it kind of is. Like,
That's
you
why
want to get back on
that's why I
track.
brought this question up, because when you mentioned the font thing taking Sandhagen fight, it kind of made me think of Turner. So I was trying to see the comparisons.
I mean, he fought, like, if you want to say that the momentum was stalled, it was probably him taking the Gamrot fight on short notice after Dan Hooker got hurt. And then the Hooker fight just kind of like, Hooker just like out dogged him. That was that's such a fun fight to go back and watch. And you're just like, Jesus Christ, dude, Dan Hooker is a bad dude. Cause I don't know. I don't know how he went the full 15, man. I have no idea.
Dan Hooker won a fight where won a fight where he wasn't the better fighter. Even though, I mean, like, Jalen Turner was a better fighter that night, but Dan Hooker won it. I don't know. Like,
yeah. You want, it was, he had, I mean, AK hates this, but he had more dog in him that night. Like, he just did. And if you're a guy like Jalen Turner who kicked that dude in the face with everything he had, and Dan Hooker ate
that was
it
shin to head.
Like, you got to be like, what? How am I supposed to beat this guy? How am I supposed to beat this guy? But Gamrot fight was super close. A lot of people thought Turner won that fight. I thought Gamrot won 29-28, but there were a lot of people who thought Turner won that fight. Turner himself thought he won that fight.
I don't remember that fight, even though but that was a close fight, right? Gamrot didn't. It was a split decision. I can't remember that fight at all for some reason.
Yeah, it was super fun, but it just, when you look back on that card, that was the John Jones return. That was Alexa Grasso submitting Valentina Shevchenko. That was
lost. Yeah.
That was Shavkat and Jeff Neal beating 6 shades of shit out of each other. Like, as good as that fight was, it seems like such an afterthought. Nichols
steamrolling Jamie Pickett. Yeah. Okay.
It just seems like such an afterthought. 285 is a really, really good card. Like, when you actually go back and click on it, like, this Dricus Duplessis was on the prelims against Derek Brunson, got him out of there. I mean, there's just a lot on that card. It was really good.
Really good main card. Yeah, but you're right. Bobby Green, not Bobby Green, Jalen Turner could easily be on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 fight winning streak rather than a 2 fight losing streak right now. I feel like
I definitely think there's more of a case that he won the Gamrot fight. Again, I didn't think he won that fight. I definitely didn't think he won the Dan Hooker fight. I got out of that fight. I was like, yeah, dude, Dan won. Yeah. Dan won 29-28. You know what I mean? So, but we'll see what happens, man. Like, I loved the Dan Hooker fight for Bobby Green for that reason, because Jalen just lit him up, and it's so hard to bounce back from taking damage like that. Like, and he's taken a lot of damage in other fights as well. Like the Dustin Poirier fight. Holy cow, dude. Paul Felder fight back in the day. Like, he took a lot of damage in that one too. So eventually it's going to catch up to the guy. Like, it's just going to have to, right? So I really love that matchup for Bobby. I felt like there was a lot of opportunity there. This is obviously a different fight with a much bigger guy, but this is just the vibe seemed to be on Bobby Green right now. But we'll see. Jalen Turner can get that momentum right back if he wins this fight. So
he could take all that momentum from Bobby Green of a dominant victory tonight. Short notice, making weight. And then if he dominates a guy that, so much hype behind him, Bobby Green, who we're kind of giving the new Jorge Masvidal kind of treatment, in the sense of just could happen. He could happen, to see if Jalen Turner can kind of stop that.
Very good fight. With the UFC crowning a new women's bantamweight champion next month, could the winner, Miche Julia Avila, get in the title hunt? Yeah, I think so. For sure.
I would think either of them are, though, the winner of that fight will be in a number 1 contender fight next. I assume Julia Pena will face the winner of Pennington and Bueno Silva. I think especially Tate. I don't know how much the UFC likes Julia Avila as much. I don't know if they're as big as fans as we are. Obviously, Miesha Tate is a star. So I think if Tate gets if Tate looks great tonight, do you think the UFC would? Pena and Tate are like buds, right?
Yes. Yeah, they are. They're very close.
Yeah, so I thought. I don't know if they're like we're never fighting each other type of buds, but it feels like
I
that.
probably are. It's pretty
Yeah.
close. It's pretty close. So here's what the top 15 at 135 looks like
Oh
according
no!
to the
Don't do
UFC.
this. Don't do this. Top. You don't need top 15. All right, go for it.
Pena, Pennington, MBS, Caitlin Vieira, Holly Holm at 5. Irene Aldana is in the mix here. I know she's fighting. I think she's fighting Carol Hosa
It's a Hosa or
at
Pierre? Oh, Hosa.
296.
She's booked against someone. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe I'm wrong. I'll have to look at it. Patty Chianza, Yana Santos, Macy Chiesa, Norman Dumont. Hosa's at 9. Tate's at 12. Avila's at 13. Josiane Nunez at 14. Chelsea Chandler's at 15. Nunez and Chandler have basically been featherweights throughout this run, so I don't even know why they're ranked at this point. So, yeah, they'll be put in an interesting spot. We'll see what happens. Misha wins. She's probably a win away from getting a title shot as long as Juliana Pena doesn't win it because she's such a big name. But you could always do Tate, Holly Holm next regardless, and I kind of think you have to at this point with the tail ends of the career. You have to run that one back at some point. Maybe do it at UFC 300 or something. I think that makes a lot of sense. But we'll see.
What a shame if the UFC doesn't. We somehow don't get Tate home too. It's right. It seems like it's right there. No matter what, it's right there. That's. Yeah.
What do you think? So Dana White did the interview with the Full Send guys, and he teased that they're trying to work on this giant super fight for 2024. And at first I was just like, why are we doing the super fight thing? And then I got to thinking, like, first of all, what is a super fight? Like, what does Dana White actually consider a super fight? Like, to me, Zuckerberg versus Elon Musk to him is a super fight. Could Ronda Rousey be a part of the super fight? Is that possible? Could they bring Ronda back for UFC 300 for something? Whether it's Pena or maybe they do her and Tate, maybe they do her and Holly Holm too. At this point would be super interesting. Could Ronda Rousey be a part of this quote unquote super fight? Because of her star power, her story, her being out for so long, could she be a part of this? And would you care?
I hope so, and I would care a lot. People want to crap on Ronda Rousey. I get it, the way she left the sport. But man, we were there. When Ronda Rousey was at her height, I know everyone's like Conor, but like for me personally, because I'm not from Ireland or whatever, I felt the Ronda Rousey hype with the people around me was bigger and stuff, and bigger to the sport. And I think it personally brought in more fans in terms of different types of people, namely women, and to the sport. And I would absolutely love if Ronda Rousey came back and fought a couple more times. I hope it's not a one-off. Hope if they do bring her back, it's not just fight Tate and get out, make a couple $1,000,000 and get out. I hope she sticks around, man. But I really miss Ronda Rousey in this sport.
A lot of people, like, when we talked about this, was like, nah, it probably isn't her. Like, Dana said she has no interest, which to me, when Dana says that, makes you think that there might be to try to swerve everybody. But and a lot of people are telling me like, oh, Ronda like doesn't seem all that interested in that. But she's like, people change, man. Like CM Punk's back in WWE. Like we never thought that was going to happen after the way he left. So CM Punk like wants to finish his story, so to speak, in like a good way. I kind of feel like Ronda the mom and the wife and all of that. She's obviously not the same person she was in 2016. Maybe there's a part of her that's like, look, I went out on a bad note. I kind of got dumped on the way out. I had a successful WWE run. Maybe I come back and do it right, even if it's just for one fight. She does it. Yeah. The whole thing does the media, comes up very positive and just leaves on a high note. Like win, lose, or draw. Like she says nice things at the end. Hey, shout out to her. Great performance. I just had to do this one more time for my daughter and show that like I can leave with some class. Like I think that would be cool. Like I think that changes her legacy in a lot of ways if she came back for one fight. Even if she gets drubbed, who cares? If she comes in in a good positive way and then comes out in a good positive way, like very humbled up. Like I think the way people look at Ronda and her run changes in a lot of ways.
Oh, I 100% agree with you, Mr. Heck. Yeah. If it happens, I would that would be the super fight. That would be the super fight I hope that Dana books. Outside of a Jones versus Nagano, something like that.
There's one other one that somebody brought up, and I was like, ooh, like I could see a world where this happens. Could we get? And I like, who knows? Like it would just kind of like a cool little weird fight, but still one that would be like, you and I would see it, a poster of it, and be like, oh my god, like this is real. What if they did GSP Anderson Silva at UFC 300? What if they finally put that fight together?
I have mixed feelings.
Mixed feelings?
Yeah, just because both of them are so significantly past their prime. Are we kind of doing a version of? I know it's not that extreme, but are we doing a version of Roy Jones versus Mike Tyson? You know,
I think they would fight. Like I think it would just be a fight. Finally, we give the fans the fight they've always wanted. You know what I mean?
Are
Anderson's still fighting. He's still out there fighting people.
GSP, it's obvious. Well, from the videos he posts, he's still in magnificent shape.
He looks like he's 25.
Yeah. It would need to happen very soon.
Yeah.
I just
it'd be for 300.
Oh my goodness, that is a 300 type of fight.
It sure is.
Yeah, I gotta say, I'm kind of getting a little bored of who are they gonna book for 300. But if it is someone like GSP versus Anderson Silva, something like Ronda Rousey coming back versus whoever, okay, that will get my 300 talk kind of excited again. Because right now I'm like,
those are super fights. Yeah, that's a super fight. That's a super fight. To me, like the way the sport has changed. Volkanovski versus Topuria is a super fight, and Volkanovski Makhachev isn't, because we see that so often now.
Yeah.
Like it's so rare to see a fighter defend his title in his own division multiple times. Like that's the super fight now.
Yeah, just defend your belt. Whoa, crazy.
So weird. All right, let's keep going. Broadcast has not started yet, so we're good.
I kind of.
But I'm telling you, the more you think about this question, the more fun you're gonna have. I didn't think I would have as much fun thinking about this.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you're right.
Who has the most to gain today? Who has the most to lose? The most to lose is so simple. It's Beneil Dariush by a mile. Because if he loses this fight, he's never getting a title shot. Most to gain today? I think it's Bobby Green. I think it has to be Bobby Green. Because of what could happen. I think he's like such a baby face right now, especially after the Tsarukyan released the video and we got to see what actually happened in some respects. So I think it's Green, most to gain, and I think it's inarguable that it's Dariush most to lose. What do you think?
Dariush definitely the most to lose for sure. In terms of fighting for a title. Man, if Dariush loses today, he'll be in that list that list you kind of don't want to be on, but those great fighters who never actually fought for a belt, not win a belt, but never actually fought for a belt. Like guys like Dariush should be in that list, kind of like guys like Cub Swanson, great fighters, just never they lost that fight to get to that belt. If Dariush loses, that'd be bad for him. Most to gain though. Oh man, I kind of think Turner and Green, but Green probably a little bit more just because of all the fan hype behind him. Also, a lot to lose though. Also, what do you think about Sean Brady? Does he have a lot to lose?
He's number two. Number two.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, because
Sean
Sean Brady's not. He's not a guy who's gonna be great on the mic. So he's gonna have to do all his getting fans, getting UFC behind him. He has to do it in the cage. So yeah, if he loses to Kelvin, and right now, we just don't know what to expect from 170 Kelvin. I honestly don't. That fight, I really don't know what's gonna happen. I just don't know what kind of
so interesting, and you can even put like if you take out the main event, if you take out the main event altogether. I think you can make a strong case that Gastelum has the most to gain and Brady has the most to lose. Because if Gastelum goes out there and just ices Sean Brady with this new weight class and looking good and looking fit and all that stuff, like he's just another guy. Like he's another guy in this weight class that could get a nice little push and could find himself at a pretty big fight. So that fight it's the second most like storyline filled fight on this whole card, I think, when it comes to like stakes and what it means and the aftermath of it all. It's so interesting.
Yeah, I think we're kind of on the same wavelength there. Yeah, I like it. All right. How's the broadcast looking, sir?
Just started. This is going to be one of the special events for the Stuart Scott Cancer Research Fund, the VORG event. So the broadcast just started. It's Brennan Fitzgerald, Michael Bisping, Daniel Cormier with the mics today. So,
all right. Ooh, let's go to the very first fight of the night.
What are you hoping or expecting to see from Veronica Hardy tonight?
First of all, what do we know about her opponent?
Dude, she's good. I've been hearing about Jamie Lynn Horth for a long time.
Yeah, I feel like I've heard the name, but I don't honestly remember her first fight in the UFC against Haley Cowan.
Cowan,
sorry. Yeah, actually, I just don't remember that fight.
Yeah, it's not a memorable one. That's for sure.
Okay.
But I remember hearing about Jamie like in 2016. Like she was like I was talking to like a bunch of prospects and a bunch of people like fighters from Canada, and they were like, and I would always ask them back then, like, who are other fighters like in the area that you have your eye on who you think can be really good? And before she even had her first amateur fight, everyone was like, Jamie Lynn Horth, like, trust me, this girl's gonna be really, really good. First two wins of her amateur run, Casey, Lupi Godinez, which is crazy. First two Amy fights were both against Lupi, and she beat her both times. Yeah. But yeah, it just kind of took a while to her get, like, she just couldn't really stay active. She was having a really hard time getting opponents to say yes to her. She's having a really hard time finding fights in Canada, which was a big thing, especially when the pandemic happened. So she was only fighting like once she turned pro. I think she had 2 fights in 2018, but after that, it was just like a fight a year. And then finally she got an LFA fight and got a quick win. Well, not a quick win, but she got a finish and won a belt. And I believe the belt Lupi Godinez vacated, if memory serves me correctly. And yeah, now she's finally in the UFC. So she's walking to the octagon as right now. So This is a good fight. Like, she's good. She's good. Veronica Hardy looked incredible against Juliana Miller. I have a lot of questions about this fight as well, because I know how good Jamie is. Veronica Hardy showed a lot of improvement. A lot of people, like, no one was picking her to beat Juliana Miller for some reason. I think a lot of us overrated Juliana Miller, for being honest. So it's just a matter of, was it just Veronica Hardy fighting a green fighter who probably isn't UFC ready from a skill set perspective? Or is she just really good? And we're going to find this out, because Jamie Lynn is really good. So it's going to be a good fight.
All right.
I believe she's the underdog as well. Yeah, plus 170. So that's, if I'm taking a dog shot from a betting perspective, probably taking a dog shot on Veronica Hardy. Why not? Plus 170. I feel like this fight should be lined a little bit closer.
I think I officially picked Hardy by submission, mostly because I just don't know very much about Jamie Lynn Horth, and I think I'm pretty sure I saw her fight, and then I just forgot about it all. So that doesn't mean she's bad.
This will be a good fight.
But I think this will be a good fight. Good
matchup.
I like it. Should we go to our picks or more questions?
Yeah, you got bonus predictions? What do we got?
Bonus predictions. Let me pull the card up 1 second. Bonus predictions. Where are my actual picks? Okay. Anyway, well, it's to give away my prediction, but I'm good. Tsarukyan performance of the night.
Okay.
Soriano performance of the night, just because that's how the man fights. And I'm gonna go. Oh man, I'm having some fun. I'm gonna go Sean Brady, Kelvin Gastelum for fight of the night.
Let's go. I love that. I love that. I'm going. This is tough, man, because I got a lot of finishes on this card. I'm gonna say no fight of the night.
Oh, no fight of the night.
I'm gonna say no fight of the night. It's gonna be a finish heavy bonus structure. Tsarukyan, Green, Font, Joaquim Silva, Puna Soriano, and Hidalgo Bellato will all get bonuses. There will be a couple who get finishes who don't get bonuses, but I think I'm just going with that. I'm gonna take a shot on all those names. I think there's gonna be a bunch of finishes on this card.
If Green can finish knockout Jalen Turner, he will without a doubt get the biggest pop of the night. I
have to go with what I said on the preview show. Like, I just don't know. I think if Bobby Green can weather the storm, I think he's gonna win. Again, this is all vibes, and I think the way Bobby wins this fight,
weight cut, short notice,
it's a lot. It's a lot. All things considered, no short notice, no big weight, and again, Bobby is very familiar with Jalen Turner. It's not like this is the first he's ever heard of Jalen. Like, those two have scrapped it up many times over the years. They've shared gym mats together. Mm-hmm. Bobby Green is well aware of the man he's fighting. He knows him very well.
Yeah. Both those gentlemen train, within like 20 miles of me. Yeah, they're in this area. Yeah.
They know each other very well. So it's not like Bobby's coming in cold. Like, he has no idea who Jalen Turner is. So I think there's some familiarity there. I think the veteran savvy of Bobby Green will come through. I think he knows he has to weather a storm, and it's going to be a tough storm to get through, but the vibes are all in the air for Bobby Green here, and I could be dead wrong, and wouldn't shock me if I am, because I'm wrong a lot, but that's where we're at right now. Let's go with our main card.
Bobby Green at 37 years old and 45 professional fights is pretty much one victory away from, like, honestly being in the UFC title picture. That is kind of crazy.
Yeah, he's in a big fight if he wins this one. Like, he's in a big one.
Big one.
And he's going to be the top. If Bobby Green goes out and finishes Jalen Turner, it doesn't matter what happens in the main event. Bobby Green will be the talk of the card.
Yeah.
For sure.
He's
no question.
Yeah.
All right, main card picks. You pick Soriano. I'm also picking Soriano. I have first round knockout. This is going to be fun as hell.
Yeah, I'm going third round knockout, but yeah.
Third round. All right.
Yeah.
I love it. Clay Guida, Joaquim Silva. Who do you got?
Joaquim Silva, second round submission.
I have Joaquim Silva first round submission. He's going to hurt Clay Guida on the feet. Guida is going to do what you would expect him to do once he gets hurt on the feet. He's going to shoot, and Joaquim Silva is going to put him in a ghillie and tap him in round one. That's how I see this fight playing out.
Hey, but God bless Clay Guida, 41 years old.
I love
41-year lightweight, still doing his thing, still being Clay Guida. I don't think he will win this fight, but still a fun guy, and more power to you, man. Have fun.
Yes. Sean Brady versus Kelvin Gastelum. Who you got?
In a fight of the night performance from both gentlemen, Sean Brady takes a decision victory.
I have Brady by decision too. I'm not ready to quit him just yet. I can't. No. Rob Font taking on new bantamweight and former flyweight champion Davison Figueiredo. Who do you got?
Rob Font, knockout round 3.
I have Rob Font knockout round 2. I
think we both kind of see the fight going the same way. Yeah, I'm just going.
Yeah. I just think Font hits really hard, and I think Figgy's not going to be a fish out of water. I think he's going to have his moments, but I think Font's just going to get him at some point. I already played my hand. Bobby Green, KO, or some sort of striking finish in round 3, and Bobby Green gets just a CM Punk returning to WWE type pop from the Austin crowd.
For the stories, for the clicks, I want to pick Bobby Green, but I am going Jalen Turner with a pretty solid unanimous decision victory.
And I have Arman Tsarukyan, KO round 3. KO TKO round 3. Clips Benny. Benny may be in the lead. Benny might be up 2 rounds. Could be 19-19. It's going to be a very competitive fight. I think Tsarukyan's going to get a harsh talking to in the corner. Like, get your shit together, step it up, dude. Like, go get him. And I think Tsarukyan's be like, okay, bet, and do the damn thing and get a huge win and finishes Beneil Dariush, which would be massive for him. I do want this fight to go deep, though. I really do. I want to see what Tsarukyan can do in the championship rounds against a guy like Dariush, but I don't think it's going to get that far.
I would love this fight to go to at least round 3, round 4, but I am picking Arman Tsarukyan by knockout in round 2.
Ooh. All right, hit the music. We are halfway through round number 1 here. Jamie Lynn Horth, Veronica Hardy. I've not watched a second of it yet, but it seems like they have a lot of respect for each other. Jamie Lynn Horth looks like a frigging tank next to Veronica Hardy. She looks gigantic, but we'll see how this all plays out. We will have a post-fight show after the fact, and then BKFC 56 going down. We'll have a little watch-along for a lot of the main card, including the main event between Mike Perry and Eddie Alvarez. We're going to have some fun. It's going to be a very fun day, everybody, so strap in, get some good food, and if you're a college football fan, have college football on one TV and have the fights on the other, and just enjoy it, everybody. Next week is UFC Shang Vegas, and that card is not nearly as good as this one, so, and it starts way later. So enjoy this, everybody. For Casey, I am Mike Heck. We'll see you a little bit later on.